What's going on? This is Hoppe Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe, and I'm very excited about my next guest from the nationally syndicated Morning Hustle radio show, and he's also a co-host on Dish Nation. Headkrack is on the show. What's going on, bro?
I am chilling. What's good? What's going on, Ryan?
Dude, this is very bizarre having you on the show because I grew up watching Dish Nation. We would get it on Fox 32 in Chicago, and I just liked the way you reported the news, and you were my favorite on there, so it's very bizarre. I'm now living in an apartment in St. Petersburg, Florida, and I'm talking to you. This is just very bizarre.
Yo, it is so crazy how the format of television allows us to enter so many homes, man. So I appreciate you connecting with me on that level, and congrats on everything you got going on as well, bro.
I appreciate it, man. So I was listening through your app this morning when I was working out to the Morning Hustle. And what I liked about it is you were playing music that I don't usually hear on hip hop radio that often. Like, for example, you were playing a new hit and then you would play Money Moves, which is from like 2 years ago. So do you guys specifically pick to play like a wide range of music? Because to me, I would listen to that every morning if it was in Tampa.
You know, the crazy thing is there are a group of people that sit high and look low, and they try to massage the playlist and just, you know, kind of balance it out. Because when you look at who listens to radio in the morning, it's such a wide dynamic of people and a different, you know, pocket of ages as well. So they try to play music that appeals to the younger end and the older end at the same time. And there are a couple opportunities in there where we'll spike a song in that makes sense. But, you know, at the end of the day, like, you know, we're responsible for the content. The program is program, the music, and, you know, we break format when necessary because they get really antsy about that sort of thing.
So how much prep do you put into your morning show? Because there's some radio people that I work with here in Tampa that, and it makes it work for them, but they literally roll in at 6 and the song is playing at 6:01 and then they just do their morning show. And then there's some people like Woody out in Los Angeles who do a 9-hour morning show and they're getting there at 2 a.m. to do 3 hours of prep. For you, how much prep do you put into each morning show?
Yo, God bless that dude that is doing a 9-hour morning show. That is insane. But at the end of the day, you know, it's not work if you love what you do. I'm kind of always rolling real time with my prep. You know, when I get off work, I'm still like, you know, keeping my eyes peeled on what's going on social media. What are people talking about on different websites? Even things that personally happen to me as I'm out and about. Because, you know, there's always things happening in real time. Because, like, the stories are the stories. And everybody's going to talk about the same stories. But it's these things that happen to you personally that'll make you stand out or make your show a little bit more interesting, or if you have an ensemble cast, figuring out what's going on in their lives and try to make it 3D for the people listening. So, you know, just living life is the prep. I don't roll in at 6:01 for a show that starts at 6. I mean, I try to get there earlier, but best believe I'm putting in work even when we're not on the air. So I'm not going to say it's 24/7 for me, but I mean, at least 27, you know.
Well, what I noticed too from listening to the show, so like I'm a huge radio fan, but working in radio has kind of taken the fandom out of me, but I grew up listening so I could pick up on cues. And some of the major shows, especially in Chicago or shows I would listen to online, you could tell that the main host ran the room and that everybody was kind of on eggshells around him. And I've worked around that sort of vibe in radio, and it's very awkward. But what I picked up from listening to your show this morning is that it's just a fun vibe. You know what I mean? It doesn't sound like you treat people badly off air, which I think is very cool.
I never really understood the mentality of people who kind of like ran a tyrannical kind of show, because at the end of the day, you want to feel good about going to work. You want to feel good about what you do. And I've always been in the business of treating people well. So I try my best to create a fun environment where everybody can thrive and be great. And, you know, and if there's, you know, and all shows have issues, even if it sounds like you're having a good time. But like, you know, most of the things we deal with off the grid, and then we get back to the business. So, you know, but the main job is to come in, have fun, and just keep a good vibe going. And, you know, and that translates a lot of times over the airwaves.
Now, unless you're doing a Facebook Live or TikTok, pretty much when you're on air, nobody can see you. So you feel kind of laid back. For me, I feel that way. But whenever I'll like film one of my rants, I feel different where like, I feel like I have to look presentable. So now I can only imagine the pressure you're under. Do you feel pressure when you're on Dish Nation? Is there like a certain way you present yourself that maybe you're not presenting yourself that way if you're not on or if you're not on camera?
Well, fortunately, because I'm a guy, no one cares about how I look.
True.
So, I mean, people care, right? People care, but like women really have to go through it. You know what I'm saying? I've, like doing Dish Nation as long as I've been doing it, I've watched 3 people work on one person, to get them presentable to the masses. And the crazy thing is that person actually looks fine without makeup, but it is what it is. I mean, for me, even doing Dish Nation now, because we're still kind of like on quarantine mode as it relates to Dish. Like we're filming out of our house, not out of the studios like we used to be.
Yeah.
So no makeup touches my face. And I'm just making sure like my cheeks and my forehead ain't shiny. You know what I'm saying? When I jump in front of the camera. So, I mean, that's kind of like the only 2 things I care about. Like make sure that, the light ain't hitting me crazy and I'm good. But I mean, I care, but not as much as it is perceived that women care, if that makes any sense.
And that's a point that I just kind of came up with at the top of my head. So like for me, my girlfriend's beautiful. When she puts on makeup, I'm not bragging, but she's a 10 out of 10. Like she's a very pretty girl. But I also like when she takes off the makeup and just kind of looks natural around the house. Do you think we'll ever reach a point where the females don't need to put on all the makeup? Because to me as a guy, there's something really beautiful about when a woman just looks natural. You know what I mean?
Yeah, unless they like find out that like makeup is how everyone got COVID. I think women will always try to, resort to dollar themselves up. I mean, and I know it's a confidence thing and it's a self-esteem thing, because like for women, it's like the makeup, but for guys, it's our haircuts, right?
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Maybe it's, going to the gym to make sure our physique is hit a certain way. So everybody kind of has their thing and you can't knock the hustle, but and the crazy thing too, because we're in such a Me Too space, it's even hard to tell a woman in the workplace, yo, what you got makeup on for? You don't need that makeup, girl. Because next thing you know, you're in the HR meeting, right?
Yeah.
But it was just a compliment that was okay to give 5 years ago, but now it's weird. So I don't think the makeup thing is ever going anywhere. But, shout out to all the women out there. Y'all are a lot flyer already than y'all look. Y'all don't got to really do all that. But I understand it's a compliment.
So tell me about Action Park. Right in front of me, I have all these talking points, and you have so much going on with it that I respect it. Because when I've interviewed other people, they're just like, oh, check out my music. So explain to my audience everything you have going on with Action Park.
All right. So Action Park is kind of like an audio diary, right? Talking about my formative years of my life, that kind of got me to a certain point in time. And it's a collection of my misadventures. Life is like an amusement park. So for those who don't know, Action Park was an amusement park in New Jersey. And like in the early 80s to the like late to mid 90s, they used to run these commercials all the time on TV. And as a kid, I always wanted to go. And when I finally went, like I ended up getting my leg cut just walking around, not by a person, just because it was just a dangerous place to be. The rides were all like human propelled. And it was quite a vibe. So life is a lot like an amusement park. Some rides will be fun and like, you're having a wee moment. And then some rides are like, oh man, that was dangerous. I'm never going to do that again. And some rides you can actually even die on in life. So the album serves as a metaphor for that. And, it's woven together by 10 tracks that are all stories just talk about my misadventures living on planet Earth, man.
I like that your songs have like a theme to it. You know what I mean? Because like some of my favorite artists are like Nas, because I want to like learn something. I want to hear something when I'm listening to music. And that's definitely what I think is the future of music, is when there's like a thing that you can learn there, or you can close your eyes and picture something.
Yes. I agree with that, bro. Because like even when I think about songs that really like had an impact on my life that I still listen to this day, it's always those songs that either had a story to it or some level of a message that I could identify with. Like, when a children's story by Slick Rick comes on, you almost know it word for word, depending on how deep into the culture you are. And and it's it's crazy how even in 2021, they shot the kid at the end of that song. Unnecessarily. Well, actually, he did pull out a gun on the cop, so maybe that kid earned that. But the same things that was happening on Children's Story back in 1988 when it was released, it's still going on now, right? And even when you fast forward to like the mid 2000s, Kendrick Lamar, "Sing About Me," "We Gonna Be All Right." Like these were like not only great stories but also anthems that gave you hope. So in this project, I want you to have a great time. And I also want to give you hope, for yourself and for the future, and also be entertained at the same time.
So it says here that you go through depression, and I go through major depression, bro. It's the most bizarre thing. Like I could literally I could win the lottery and win all the money in the world, and I would be unhappy because the voice in my head would say, "Oh, you don't need this money. You don't deserve this money." Or even when I first began dating my girlfriend, I was like, "Oh, she's with me because I'm known in Tampa in radio." I always have this voice in my head that's always telling me, it's always self-sabotaging me. I don't know what type of depression you go through, but what are some ways that you fight through depression whenever you begin to kind of feel low?
I do so many things, man. So there are a lot of avenues that you can go down to deal with the things that are making you upset. So if you're depressed, you can either deal with the things that are depressing you, and sometimes you don't even know what it is. Sometimes you're just in a mood for no reason. Retail therapy is something that I've spent a lot of time doing. Like if I don't feel good, I'm going to order some stuff online.
Yeah.
And when this comes on, I'm going to walk with an extra pep in my step. But even beyond that, I had to dig even deeper. So I started doing things like meditation. I started going to, like a quantum hypnotherapist, which for people who never understood what quantum hypnotherapy is, it's when they hypnotize you, and depending on the skill level of the hypnotherapist, they can help you connect with your higher self in a way that a normal psychologist or, another hypnotist couldn't. These people have to go to school and, do hours and hours of education in order to pull the stuff out of people. So doing that helped me out a lot because it taught me a lot about myself, and it removed a lot of potential doubts and fears that I had, for myself. But the odd part about that, the same day I did that, my mother died. So then I sank deeper into depression. I was good and confident walking out of there, but also on this, hours later, because my mother was in a hospital when I went, and I knew it was a situation where it could have been any day now, but it just threw me in a crazy spiral where I just worked through my depression, which some people say is a terrible thing to do, but for me, that's the only thing I knew how to do. Something's bothering you, just work through it. And I did that. I did a tour. I went on tour with Eric B. and Rakim. I took a couple days off from work for the funeral, but I just worked through it. But that's kind of like putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. You still bleeding out. So how do you fix it? So I began to seek things online or information online to, help me with my depression and PTSD that I had from growing up. And I found it recently in ayahuasca. So I've been going on these ayahuasca retreats, with shamans and a really dope community of people, and really learning a lot, not only about myself, but also the universe, the laws of life and death, how just time and energy works. And it has been an amazing journey in that. And, I chronicle this on my podcast, Headkrack After Hours. And I even have more that I need to add on to it because I've been on another, retreat since then. So that is really what helped me out a lot. And I hope a lot more people Google ayahuasca and how it can help you, because there's a lot of people out here who are broken and don't even know it. And I was one of them.
So when you're on this, because I've read so many things about it, I believe I've heard Joe Rogan talk about it. I believe in the universe, but I feel like I'm in the beginning of learning about the universe. My workout trainer is also a sage, and he kind of told me about the law of attraction 18 months ago, and I know a good amount about it, but I'll self-sabotage myself and not believe in the universe, and then semi bad things happen, just like whatever. So what are some things you learned about the universe and life and death while you were on this retreat?
Okay, so even before the ayahuasca retreat, the law of attraction is a thing, but it was never what I personally called it, right? Like, I just, some people call it manifestation. I always called it alkaline thoughts. I went into every situation knowing and understanding that whatever I wanted to happen in said situation was always going to be the outcome. And it never let me down. Never let me down. The only thing that can ever defeat you is you and your self-sabotage. So once you learn that and learn how to like really manipulate that out, your alkaline energy and allow it to bring things to you, which is, I guess, what they talk about in the law of attraction, man, you will be amazed how the doors will just open up for you and how many things will just kind of like fall into your hands to the point to where you just start like, manifesting silly things just to see if it's a thing. And then you watch it happen and you're like, oh my God, it's crazy.
What is a way when you try to manifest? I didn't mean to interrupt you. When you try to manifest, what is like the way you put it out to the universe? So like for me, I want to lose weight and I want to make more money, but everybody wants that. So like, what's the way to manifest it in a unique fashion?
Okay, so when you talk about those two particular things in general, right?
Yeah.
Like losing weight. So a lot of times we gain weight because of lack of knowledge on nutrition. And I was guilty of this myself. I went so many years not understanding how nutrition works, and I was doing it all wrong. So there was a lot of like reprogramming that I had to do mentally to understand, even get better with it. I was literally going to the gym and then I would leave the gym and go get a pizza with the mentality of like, yo, I worked out so I can eat this pizza. But no, that's not how it works. So I think taking the time to, I guess, set a goal for yourself and really just building it. Cause like, I have never dealt with a situation where I've manifested the weight loss, but I did manifest the information to fall into my lap so I could start moving better and doing better. And the crazy thing is I'm coming off of a wave where I lost, I started like 241 and today I'm like, let me rewind it back to a better day. Friday I was 216. I just came back from Orlando. They got Voodoo Donuts out there and I'm a sucker for like,
so good, bro.
Man, listen. So when I came, when I came back, bro, I was 224 pounds, but I was 216 pounds when I went out of town. So yesterday I came back. I went and did hot yoga for like 30 minutes. And then I also ate like I knew what nutrition was again because, I was doing what I wanted because I was on vacation. I weighed myself this morning. I was 219. But I'm only able to do that because I have the information now of what to eat. Like if you do your diet and balance it out with like 400 calorie meals and you eat those 400 calorie meals every 3 hours and make sure they have like a protein, a fat, and a carb involved.
Yes. You
will drop weight so fast that it will blow your mind. And I was trying to lose the weight that I just lost, when I went from 240 to 216. I was trying to lose that weight for like 4 years. But, I knew I needed to do better. And I asked the universe to bring people in my life to make me do better. And then I got involved with this program called the 40-Day Turn Up. And it reprogrammed my brain to where like I don't have to require so much food per sitting. And now that I'm like every 3 hours, your metabolism is always burning. So you drop in weight. And there it goes. Now, going back to your second thing, trying to manifest more money. Of course, we all want more money. But I think we're asking for it wrong. Most people are asking for it wrong.
Yes.
You have to manifest the opportunity.
Damn, I did not think about that.
Yeah, the opportunity is going, because like it's a vague statement when you say, I want to make more money. Okay, cool. Like you might find $1 in your couch. Technically, that is more money. But the long-term money and the long-term, financial blow-up from that comes from manifesting whatever the opportunity is that'll create the windfall. And sometimes people operate in a space where, all right, cool, I'm going to take this job because it's offering me a lot more money, or you have the opportunity to take all the money you can. But sometimes it's like, all right, cool, is this something I really want to do? Or can I do something somewhere mid-range where I could do it longer, mentally and physically, and make money for a longer period of time, as opposed to just grabbing it all right now? There's so many ways to play the game, but you just got to figure out what rule set is best for you. Because some people are in a position where I need all the money I can get, I need it now. But some people understand the art of the long con to where, like, you kind of like walk slowly and just slowly just grab all the change off the table as you go and eat longer.
Do you ever plan on writing a book? Because you're a very smart guy, and I feel like that would sell very fast.
Yo, thank you, brother. I want to. And, you know, my manager be on me all the time. Like, we have so many things that, so many, like, pokers that we're putting in the fire, right?
Yes.
That is like, all right, cool. We're going to do this, we're going to do this, then we're going to do that, you know? And I want to write a book because I really feel like I have so many stories to tell. And it is coming. It's coming. But I think the next couple things out the hopper is just, hit people with a little bit more music and also, continue to, feed the meter on this podcast. Because, the first few episodes have been, very well received. And I want to keep that going, too. So I don't want to be a jack of all trades, master of none. So, I'm just trying to give everything its proper time and energy before I move on to the next thing. Because if I write a book, I don't want to just slap my name on something. I really want it to be something that, we put this out here to help people. And, use this. And hopefully it could be one of those books that people go back to later. People still read the autobiography of Malcolm X. People still read Blink. People still read the 5 agreements or the 7 agreements. People still read The Alchemist. You know what I mean? I want to write a book like that to where long after I'm gone, the work I put in still helping people out there.
So where can people find your work? Because you're a man that does a lot of different things. So where can they find everything you're up to?
Man, so, I guess the easiest thing to say is go to Instagram and click on the link in the bio, and it'll take you everywhere you need to be. You got the interview aspect of Headkrack After Hours, as well as my music videos on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Headkrack. And then, my music is streaming everywhere music is being streamed. All you got to do is type in HEADKRACK. And on the podcast tip, Headkrack After Hours is available on, Apple Podcasts, Spotify podcast, Google Play, and all that other good stuff as well.
Well, dude, it's been a lot of fun having you on the show. It's very cool that you came on the show and that you and your manager put in the time to figure out a time to come on the show. Because there's been times I've worked on getting big names and they'll sort of get back to you, but then they pull the I'm too cool for you card. So I really appreciate you taking time to come on the show.
Yo, I appreciate you having me, and thank you for letting me come bless your platform, man. And now that the world is opening back up between point A and point B, man, we got to meet. So I'm looking forward to it, Ryan.
If you're ever in Tampa Bay, hit me up, and we will hang out, and I will show you the best parts of Tampa Bay to party. Sounds good, bro?
I'm literally going to write that down because as it relates to right now, you're the only person I personally know that's in Tampa Bay. So that's perfect.
And you have my number. This is my cell phone. I connected to the podcast board, so it sounds like a radio show. So this is my number.
Dope. Love it, man. Well, yo, man, peace and love to you. And you're going to keep it hopping out in the streets.
Awesome, bro. Peace out, dude.
Peace and love, baby.
Peace.
Yeah.